There's a quarter of a mile to go, and Gamine's in front by 3. Ream is second, Miss Addie Prey third, then Majestic Blend. Past the 3/16ths, and it's all Gamine. Gamine by 4. Ream is in second, followed by Miss Addie Prey. Say hello to Gamine. We don't know how good she is, but she looks impressive this afternoon. Big things to come for Gamine. Wins by 6 and was never asked to run.
Welcome back to another edition of the Racing Rundown here on YouTube. I'm Eric DeCoster, and in this episode, we'll be covering the Grade 1 Acorn on the Belmont Stakes undercard, a $300,000 purse for 3-year-old fillies going a mile over the Belmont surface, Big Sandy. A very exciting field, albeit compact. In terms of the graded stakes that are coming up this Saturday at Belmont, it might be on the bigger side with the 7-horse field. A little sad to say, but usually when obviously the world is a little bit more normal, we see all of these races on one big day and huge fields for all of them. Not the case this year. Obviously, the shakeup in the schedule due to the COVID-19 virus has made things a little weird, but 7 really nice fillies are going to line up in this Acorn that for decades has produced great horse after great horse in recent years. Guarana, Monomoy Girl, Able Tasman, your last 3 winners. Oddly enough, this race does seem to produce better, female sprinters and female milers than distance horses. It makes sense considering it is a one-turn mile that generally benefits the sprinters, but you do have your occasional horse that thrives going longer, like an Able Tasman, going further back to horses like It's Tricky, Round Pond. A lot of nice names have won this race, and one of these fillies is likely to join that group. And I see this race filled with a lot of sprinter speed, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But we'll hop right into it. We're going to talk about every single horse, what they've done in their career, what I think about them before we go into kind of the pace setup and then what my overall picks are. We'll start at the rail, the one Gamine, 2 starts, 2 wins. She'll be your favorite for Bob Baffert. Last time out, an impressive allowance win at Oaklawn, wire to wire, set some really quick fractions in the process, and beat a graded stakes place filly, a multiple graded stakes place filly in Speech in that battle. A very fun race. She will be switching to John Velasquez for this race. This will be her 3rd rider in 3 races, but she has won both of her starts, so we know that she is adaptable like that. Her maiden win was very impressive. She's cutting back from 2-turn mile in a 16th race to a 1-turn mile. And with her kind of speed, it's going to be really beneficial to her to be in that situation. And she's just been working nicely. There is no knock against this filly. She hasn't done anything wrong yet, and it's hard to see her doing something wrong in this spot. The 2 Lucrezia, a 2-time stakes winner at Tampa earlier in the year. Last time out was second behind Swiss Skydiver in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. And coming out of that race, most people, like myself, assumed that she was the beneficiary of a slow pace that Swiss Skydiver set. But now we've seen Swiss Skydiver go back-to-back impressive graded stakes wins on top of that Gulfstream Park Oaks. And you just have a feeling Lucrezia was second best on the day, and she might as well be one of those top 3-year-old fillies kind of just waiting in the shadows. She was a 5-length stakes winner her start before that. Another daughter of Into Mischief. Gamine is also a daughter of Into Mischief in this race. So the 1-turn mile really is kind of the preferred distance for Into Mischief progeny, and this seems like the kind of race for her. She's one that's going to be up on the pace in the early going. One thing of note, Julien Leparoux has been aboard for 3 of her career races, but only 1 win on her. Daniel Centeno has been the rider in both of her stakes scores, so that is an interesting note. This filly has also been pretty good on the grass as well, so she is a versatile filly, overall very talented. I just wonder if she's up to the level of Gamine, but she's one that might get dismissed in the betting with horses like Perfect Alibi and Casual that we'll touch on in a little bit. So she could be a nice little overlay, a good price on her, probably in the 6 to 8 to 1 range if all shapes up well, and she could be one to look for if you don't like the 3 likely favorites. The 3 Water White, a stakes winner last time when she took the Busher, which is a Kentucky Oaks prep by a nose. That was a very nice win, her first career stakes win. She's 2 for 6 lifetime, all of her runs coming at the 3 Naira tracks, her last 4 at Aqueduct. She's been a very consistent filly. Her last two races pretty nice. A second in the Busanda came before that Busher win, but she has to step up big here. That's the big thing. She really has not faced the likes of this group yet, and she's going to need to improve speed figure wise, visual, impressiveness wise. Her connections have unfortunately been a little low percentage at this Belmont meet. Trainer Rudy Rodriguez and jockey Jorge Vargas Jr. both generally high percentage throughout the year, but at this Belmont meet, it's been a slow start for them. So despite being a stakes winner last time at the same one turn mile, there's just not a lot going for Water White. She just seems like she's going to be a step below the rest. The 4 casual, I mean, we talked about Gamine being 2 for 2. Here's another filly that's 2 for 2 with a maiden and allowance win. Casual, an impressive maiden winner at Oaklawn in career start number 1, and then back that up with a big win in an allowance race next time out. A lot of people have been high on the Asmussen maiden winners from this past Oaklawn meet, and I think this was the most impressive by far. She's been really nice, and even more impressive is that out of that allowance race win last time out, the second and third place finishers both ran very well in an allowance race at Churchill Downs last weekend. So there's some really nice form that she's been running in. A superb pedigree. Her sire is Curlin. Her dam is Lady Tack. So we know she's going to like Belmont, based off her pedigree at least. And some hot connections, as always, with Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana Jr. teaming up. They took the grade 1 at Belmont last weekend when in the Ogden Fifth with long shot She's a Julie. A very nice filly here, back-to-back impressive speed figures. She doesn't need the lead. She has the ability to rate, which is going to be beneficial. We'll talk about that in a little bit. She's very logical. She'll probably be your second or third choice in this spot. The only other horse I think who could really battle her for that second spot in the betting is Perfect Alibi and possibly Lucrezia. But I know a lot of people who are very high on this filly, and rightfully so. She's been very impressive sprinting. The 5 Glass Ceiling for trainer Danny Gargan. Joel Rosario hops aboard back-to-back allowance wins, 1 at Aqueduct, 1 at Gulfstream Park by a combined just under 7 lengths. That win at Gulfstream last time out, very impressive. Her really only bad performance was in the Demoiselle when she was 7th, beaten 14 lengths as a big long shot. She was actually claimed out of a maiden race at Keeneland by Danny Gargan, who's had a lot of success claiming fillies. They're claiming fillies and colts at a young age and turning them into high-quality performers. Glass Ceiling back-to-back wins, but she kind of falls into that same category as Water White, maybe even a little less, where she won impressively, but there's a lot of work to do if she wants to be able to match up with this group. She's another one who likes to be near the lead and don't really know how much that's going to benefit her in this spot. So she's going to need to step up. Sure, she has 3 wins and 5 starts, but her lone run in stakes company suggests that she's just not at that level. However, she is by constitution who is the hottest sire in the country. The 6 Pleasant Orb, 1 win and 4 starts. It took her three tries to break her maiden, but she did it in March at Gulfstream. Very nice win there. She followed that up with a 3rd in a listed stakes behind Toneless Shape in mid-May. And that was a nice run. She did, finish decently, but really, if she wasn't able to beat that group, it's hard to see her being able to beat this group. That maiden win was a very nice win, but she just has to do so much more if she wants to be at this level. I'll even go back to her debut race in August. She was 2nd, beaten 12 lengths by a very talented filly of Brad Cox's named Portrait. I don't think Portrait would even be able to run a top 3 race in this spot, and she's a talented filly. So if Pleasant Orb, who hasn't really shown that she's much better than that effort based off speed figures and visual performance, if she wasn't able to finish within 12 lengths of Portrait, I have a hard time believing she's going to be able to step up in this race. Manuel Franco and Barkley Tagg are teaming up here. That is obviously the connections of your likely Belmont favorite, Tis the Law. The 7, the last horse, is Perfect Alibi, a grade 1 winning filly as a 2-year-old last year when she took the spin away. She also took the Adirondack. Really consistent filly, I might add, was 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, was making ground on a track that was not favoring the closers last fall at Santa Anita in the Juvenile Fillies, and she finished 3rd fourth, behind British Idiom, the 2-year-old champion filly, Donna Veloce, who's the best 3-year-old filly in the country now, and Bast, who would go on to win a Grade 1 in her next start, probably would be your leading Kentucky Oaks contender if she wasn't retired. So the back class on that filly is insane. She's lost her last two, but both of them have been to British Idiom. British Idiom has won both of those races, and as I mentioned, as many of you probably know, she was your 2-year-old champion filly from last year. So if I've seen a lot of people knocking Perfect Alibi, but if you take away British Idiom, your 2-year-old champion filly, Perfect Alibi is undefeated, is almost undefeated. She only has one loss in her career, not to British Idiom, and I mean that's something that you have to compliment her for. Irad Ortiz Jr. is aboard. He's ridden her to both of her graded stakes wins. The layoff is obviously the big concern. I think that's well known. Mark Cassidy does just fine off the layoff, but when you're coming back in a Grade 1 race, that's going to be a big challenge. So we'll have to see. She's kind of a wild card, but she does come from off the pace, and that's what we'll hop into, the pace scenario here. Gamine and Lucrezia, they're going to be your early leaders. They're going to be battling it out, and Glass Ceiling is going to be with them early on. I don't know how fast they're going to go. However, Gamine has done a really nice job in her first two starts, especially last time out in that 2-turn race at Oaklawn where she went 46 and 2/5 seconds for the half mile and still was able to stick around and win. That's pretty quick for that distance, and I think if she can repeat that effort, she's going to be in good shape. Lucrezia has shown sprinter speed before, and she's put up some good performances as well, but not the kind of pressure that Gamine received last time out. Lucrezia has never faced that in her career. Glass Ceiling also kind of falls into that boat as well, and she's going to be a real speed pressing type. You're going to have Casual and Pleasant Orb probably sitting mid-pack, 4th and 5th, and expect Perfect Alibi and Water White to come from way off the pace in this spot. And that could set up well for them if Gamine goes fast enough to at least pick up some of the minor pieces. But I think Gamine's just going to run them off their feet here. Bob Baffert, when he shifts to New York, he means business with his horses. Gamine's been just lights out her last 2 races. There's a reason she sold for $1.8 million as a 2-year-old in training. And she's been so mightily impressive her first 2 races. I can't go against her. I also like Lucrezia. If they soften it up enough up front, I think Lucrezia can stick around for a placement. And Casual also looks good. Perfect Alibi. She's going to be running late. It's just a question of how much she's going to be in the game coming off this big layoff from November. So that's all I have for you. Obviously a little bit chalky in this race, but I think that's just the way you have to go. Gamine has passed all the tests to this point, and I have a hard time seeing her not passing her first graded stakes test as well. So, yeah, I'm Eric DeCoster, and we'll see you next time here on the Racing Rundown on YouTube.
Go back to back. Mo 2, the whip is out and runs at the leader second. 260 is toward the rail third. Comical is set down for the drive fourth, but as they turn into the stretch, Lucrezia and Centeno, they re-break. They're in the clear and strictly the one to catch. Mo 2 on the outside can't gain on the leader. Second, 2.5 lengths farther back to Turtle Tracks, but it's Lucrezia. Centeno and Delacour go back to back. Turtle Tracks up on the outside second. Mo 2 was third, and Comical was